We'll go over our different color coding option for an imported data set in Map Business Online. You'll notice our color coding section is at the top here, and so we're going to run through some of these tools. But first, I'm going to pull in a data set. So I'm going to click on my plot data button. We've gone over this in another video, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail for bringing in a data set, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull in what I call a customer list. And I'll just click plot, and once you do, you're presented with our data window, and that'll pull up in just a moment here. And we're going to get a visual representation of all the points in the map. So the data window automatically pops up, and then you're presented with this box that says, do you want to color code data on the map? I typically say no because I run through the buttons at the top, but I'm going to just click yes just to show you what you'd experience. So these are the different options initially for color coding. There's color code with symbols, which would allow you to choose any column of your individual spreadsheet and color code by that column, whether it's a classification of what type of customer is, if you have it classified by which rep services which client in the list, you could color code by that, or you could do something like sales. We have color coding by circles, and what that will do is make circles larger or smaller based on a numeric column of your spreadsheet. So if you do units sold or sales, it'll make larger or smaller circles. We have charts. A lot of times this would be used with something like product sold or market share. It'll compare up to 6 numeric columns of your imported data set, and it'll give you bar graphs or pie charts for each location. Heat map is just a heat cloud. It just shows you kind of more intensity and less intensity, and those are nice for a PowerPoint presentation. So I'll go ahead and close out of that for now, and I'm going to close out of the data window, and let's walk through some of these. So the first thing I'm going to show, and I went through in more detail in another video, is called our heat map. And with the heat map, you just choose which data set you'd like to show. And then you get to choose your color scheme, and you can choose which column of your data set that you'd like to show. In this case, if I choose sales, then I click done. Then I show that intensity for the heat map. And once again, I do go over this more in another video. I do have pie charts as well, which will allow you to create a bar graph or pie chart based on numeric columns of your spreadsheet. So if you had 6 different types of units sold, then you could set those there, and it'll give you charts all over your map. Have color code with circles, and this will create larger or smaller circles based on a numeric column of your spreadsheet. And so if I leave it on sales, I can change the the type of color that we want to go with, and I can make them more or less intense. I'm going to change it to a lighter color, actually. And with this box here, you can choose which column you'd like to have appear as a numeric value in the middle of the circle. In this case, I'm just choosing sales for all of these, and I'm going to click done. And you get these little circles on the map, and they tell you what you can expect for each location, just to give you a visual representation. Let me zoom out again. And this time, let's walk through in more detail the most common way to symbolize your data, and that's called color code with symbols. With this, you choose which data set you'd like to color code by. I'm going to choose my customer list, and click next, and click next again. And if you're doing something like sales, maybe you do want to include a range. If you decide to do so, then you could choose the number of ranges that you have. You could have all the way up to 100 different ranges if you wanted to. And then you can change the value of each of these ranges if that means something to you. If you want to tweak it a little bit, you can raise these numbers up. And with each of these ranges, you get to choose the symbol that appears next to each range, and you can change the color, and you can change the size. I can bring the size down to, say, 40%, and if I want them all to be 40%, I can click this copy size button. If there are points in my map that don't have any of the information to color code by, so if I have entries with no sales or 0 sales, I can choose to check this box to omit those ones that don't meet the criteria. Once I click done, then I get my color-coded points on the map, and if I zoom in a little bit, see in my legend what each of these individual points mean, meaning that 4,800 to 50,000 are going to be my red dots and so on. So that's how you can do it with a numeric column. If I go back, I could choose to go a different route and do something like a customer type. The customer type, they're all going to be essentially unique values. And in my spreadsheet that I brought in, I have a customer type assigned to most, if not all, of these individual customers. And if I click get them all the way I want and click done, then I can classify by that column of my spreadsheet as well. So I can see that red is a house account, gray is a prospect list, blue is affiliate referral, and so on. And if I hover my mouse over a point, I can pull up a call out. One of the columns that I chose for my call out as well is a customer referral, so I can see it there as well. And once again, this is all information that's brought in from our imported data set. So this is just a window into my Excel spreadsheet that I brought in. And I can see that one of my columns is a customer type, and that's what I chose to go by. I have a way to summarize your information as well. So if I turn off this data set, I'm going to turn on another data set called breweries that I brought in. And this has some fake sales information tied to it. Let's say that I wanted to use my color code with circles, but rather than do for each individual location, I want to summarize my data. I could choose to summarize my data, meaning just grouping all that together into maybe one dot per state, or I could do per county or per zip. So it's going to aggregate that data into one field. So if I choose that summarize data box, then I choose state in this example, and then I tell it which column I want to get my information from, in this case sales, and you can make these more or less exaggerated. And so if we click done, then we're going to see a summarized view of all that numeric data. And I can see, California is my big one, and then, Maine's a smaller one. So just keep in mind that you can use that summarize button as well. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thanks and have a great day.